does still exist. The wealth disparity is getting more intense.
Right.
But there still is a middle class. There might not be.
No, there still exists. We agree. It still exists currently. It just, with that wealth gap, baby, it's like,
They're
I don't know.
not for long, bitches.
Well, I mean, yeah, what else is there? I like to look ahead, like a lot of what's happening now is just foreshadowing and things will either get worse or they'll get better. And that's what really drives me politically is like joking around is fun. And ultimately I don't really care. But if I can have a hand in saying, hey, I think we should actually make this better and address it, because it's like, why is the middle class going away? And a lot of that is these politicians. And I feel this strongly too, from Detroit, black area.
Yeah.
They're like voting for these people and they think that they're just by casting a ballot for a Democrat, they're like, that's it. And I'm like, no, that like, I would argue with my dad, but he's of a generation and it's across the board. If you're a black man of a certain age, you just do not fuck with like a more radical, anything that you see is radical, right?
Yeah.
Because, going back to Bernie, it's not that radical to suggest that people shouldn't go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Healthcare. That's not radical at all. But for people like my dad in that generation, they saw niggas get shot like systematically.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, there's only so much we can push this. And so that's why they went with Biden in 2020. A lot of the people were just kind of like, I don't really fuck with Trump. So I'm just going to go with Biden, even though he's not great. No one thought he was great.
Yeah.
No one thought this guy was amazing.
He was just kind of status quo.
Yeah, it was it. And for black people, we are stunted politically and consciously. We have not grown that much at all in those areas.
And why do you think that is?
They murdered
a
lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people got murdered, and then we got a black president. So it was a mix of people got murdered. They gave us a black president. We were like, okay, cool. That actually calmed us down. The pacifier in chief. Somebody called him that, but I was like, that's a perfect word for him.
Yeah.
He pacified the community he was supposed to pacify, and it did work. Because a lot of that anger that people had during the Bush years that had built up from the 60s was released a little bit in the Obama win. And then they felt so attached to him. And now you can't even really, now actually you can, because we've moved so far away from him that he's lost his magic. But there was that time where he was just untouchable.
I mean, think of like what a rebuke to his legacy Trump winning again is. It's just like, Jesus. Yeah. Everyone's like, why is Michelle so mad? I'm like, well.
Yeah. What? I'd be mad too.
Yeah. I think anyone in her position would be mad. But legacy's been kind of trampled and.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's their own doing because they didn't give way for what the next thing would have been. Like Bernie represented a counterweight to what Trump was.
Right, like the populist energy that's rising up.
And instead of letting it battle out and go, all right, they picked their populist guy, we got ours, let's go. Put it up to the country. I believe I would have loved to see that. And I still hope we get to one day.
I mean, we might. We might have a Bernie Trump election in 2028.
Oh my God. Are these guys ever going to die?